Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Harlan, for being here from AmaWaterways. Thank you, Scott and Jeremy and Maggie and my Aunt Tressa and Nick and Narita for joining. Uh, I'm really excited about this because a lot of people know me for set for like as a Disney expert, and um, and that's kind of how I launched my business, right? And so AmaWaterways specifically is like the Disney chosen river cruise supplier. And so they do tours, and Harlan may talk about that in a bit, but but Disney has actually contracted with AmaWaterways to do some of their high-end tours with Adventures by Disney. So it is AmaWaterways has the stamp of approval from Disney. So when I was just on the ship 2 weeks ago, I felt that Disney level of service every single day on the ship. So that was one of the things that shocked me about river cruising is that this level of service that I experienced on the ship. So I'm excited for you to hear about that. There's a whole bunch. I have a big long list of things that I wrote down here of things that shocked me. Harlan's going to do most of the talking, but I'm going to jump in at a bunch of points and say, this really got me. So I'm excited for everybody to be here. Thank you for joining. Like we said, we're recording this for people that can't be here. So thank you if you're watching this on the replay. And with that, Harlan, I want to turn it over to you, and you can get us going.
Awesome, awesome, Ryan. Yeah, I too am looking forward to engaging with you because I know you just freshly just came back from one of our ships. So welcome officially to the family. It's awesome to collaborate with our partners in these type of virtual and obviously in-person settings to talk about the Alma difference. And not only a company but an extended family, and that's what we are. I've been with this family now for almost coming up on 8 years, and now in June. I've been in this business for almost 30 years. I started when I was 17 years old, junior in high school, working with Carnival Cruise Line embarkation. I worked myself up to Cunard and Seabourn for 6 years. In the early 2000s, I got the opportunity to own my own agency for a good decade. But I came back into the corporate world, and I say I've left the best for last year with AmaWaterways. And it's truly unique of an experience when it comes to cruising. I always say that ocean cruises take you to a destination, river cruises sail you through these destination. And as you can see with this next slide here, it's a great optic of what you get to immerse in this ancient landscape, not only on the Rhine, the French rivers, the upper, lower Danube, the Main center part of Germany. But again, here is the actual Rhine Gorge area. A very magical experience. You get to see constant castles and citadels up on the hilltops. In fact, there's a good 6 hour span on the Rhine Gorge where it is considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site where you see these constant castles up on the hilltops. And the beautiful thing about AmaWaterways, you get to gather up on the sun deck and your cruise manager giving you a nice enrichment talk on the history behind each of these castles as you navigate through. But with AmaWaterways, it's all about that local flair, immersing in this culture and what I like to call the luxury of more options for you to do so with our built-in tours with our price points. In fact, we offer up to 6 complimentary excursions at each of these destinations that you visit. It'd be walking experiences, hiking, and my personal favorite, catching a bike in one city and then meeting the ship, say 10 miles down the riverbanks in a different city. You have that flexibility when it comes to river cruising, especially with AmaWaterways, to again become part of that local life. So again, as we drive through the presentation, and again, Ryan, again, let's keep this lively with a
Yeah,
collaboration, a
let me jump
conversation.
in. Let me
Yeah.
jump in because this picture really illustrates some questions that people have been asking me since I got back. If you look at this picture and you think about your experiences that you've had with ocean cruising, one of the things that's different about river cruising, and it may seem obvious, but people have said like, well, what about your at sea days? You know, with river cruising, you really don't have those at sea days. You can always see land. Always. It's like, and when you look at you can see the ships that are there. Like this is the scale of these rivers. It's amazing that you could have, 200 people sailing down a river, and I mean, look, you can, as you see around the bend here on this river, you can see where it's shallow in
Mm.
areas, but these boats can navigate through these rivers, taking 200 people at a time. And you can look to your left and look to your right, and you can see the scenery sail as you're sailing by. It seems obvious, but until you really, look at the picture like this and look for that, you've got land on both sides.
Yep.
And you always have something cool to look at, whether it be a castle, or you can kind of see in this picture, you can see the leaves changing and you can see different shades of green and stuff like that. It's a really relaxing, picturesque way to travel. And when I was at the River Cruise conference just last week, somebody on the main stage, and I don't remember um, if it was Rudy from AMA or it was one of the other presenters, talked about doubling your leisure time when you're
Mhm.
on this type of vacation because you don't have you don't lose time to the car, you don't lose time to trains, you don't lose time to planes. You're just on the river the whole time. So it's a really cool way. You do your thing. Harlan mentioned the excursions that are included. That was fantastic. I'm sure you'll talk about more about that in a bit, and I will jump in on that too because I had some really cool takeaways that I want to make sure hit home for
Mhm.
people as we talk about them. So
Absolutely, absolutely,
go
Ryan.
ahead.
And like you said, yeah, every it's very ancient landscape here. You're at the heart of these countries, and you're visiting a new destination every 1,000, 1,500 yards. In fact, my first journey 8 years ago was on the Upper Danube. My wife and I flew into Munich. We caught a transfer from Munich into Wilshofen, and it started our journey there. We were immersed in five countries in 7 days. So again, very convenient. Unpacking one time, you're on board this beautiful river yacht with everything built in, your meals, your drinks, your service. I mean, just the quality of the experience with AmaWaterways is second to none. I always call the ships the Mercedes Benz of the rivers. Nothing too pretentious about the experience, but again, the focus on quality over quantity. And the magic starts here, Ryan. I think you got to meet Christine Karst in the Alsta. You got to see Rudy in action. But there's a heartbeat behind this operation. That's why we're known as the heart of the river. We know our response and our focus is not on shareholders, but on the guests and our partners. And it's an authentic love for what we do and how we build our business model with that human connection side of the operation being front and center. But you'll see here on the screen here, Rudy Schreiner, known as the Godfather for river cruising. He, in fact, led the North American sales effort for Viking and Uniworld over 35 years ago. But that entrepreneur spirit him and said, I want to begin my own company. He's a maritime architect by trade, so he designs our ships with a lot of great bells and whistles and unique innovations that we'll go into detail now as we go through the presentation. But again, I always say the software and the hardware. So hardware, software, hardware being Rudy, software, that heartbeat, passion coming from Christine Karst. And of course, Gary Murphy here, the Murphy family, the third owner. So these three families came in 2002 to start this operation, initially to start the name as Amadeus River Cruises. And that switched over to AmaWaterways, not AMA, but Ama derived from the Latin word for love, Amor for the rivers. So again, starts where these individuals on the screen, trickles to the onboard way of life. And I'm sure you got to see that firsthand with how our crew members work in great synergy, Ryan, amongst the different departments. It'd be the front desk, the housekeeping, the wait staff, and especially the cruise managers. You see here one of them on the screen. His name is Luis Ribeiro. He's one of 105 cruise managers that we have sailing with our guests on these amazing journeys throughout these rivers. We're known as a personalized hand-holding experience, concierge experience with AmaWaterways. And again, it's authentic, the love that our crew members do what they do day in and day out. I always say they exceed, but they anticipate guest needs, bending over backwards for them. And again, these cruise managers, in fact, when you have guests enhancing their 7 night journeys with some pre and post stays prior or after their cruise, for example, if you do the Upper Danube, you can add Prague for a 4 day, 3 night stay, or add Budapest for a 4 day, 3 night stay. These cruise managers welcome guests after they exit the baggage claim area at the airport, transfers from the airport over to the hotel, is with them those 4 days, 3 nights, then transfers from the hotel over to the ship, and then again with them into the duration towards the final part of that experience with the post. But again, it's all handheld, personalized concierge experience. I always say the hardware is one important part of the operation, but the personality that each of these crew members brings on board is truly the value proposition for the onboard experience with AmaWaterways. Would you attest to that, Ryan?
Yeah, in fact, I want to talk about the cruise manager experience that I had last week or 2 weeks ago. It's time flies, but the cruise manager that was on the Amalea when I was on board, his name was Raul, and every night you would have right before dinner. There's like this happy hour thing that Amma does, and
Sip and
Harlan, you
sip.
could
Yeah.
sip it. Yeah, there it is, sip and sail. And so we have that, and then Raul would take the microphone and he would talk to basically everybody. There's only 150 to 200 people on the ship, and when it's the sip and sail, guess where everybody is? They're getting their sip and sail. They're getting their free beverages in the lounge. So that's where everybody kind of congregates. And cruise manager is kind of a big personality, but not in the Royal Caribbean kind of way. They're not dancing and doing all that kind of thing, but they're focused on your destinations. Like they kind of recap your day, and then they say, okay, here's what's in store for you tomorrow. And Harlan mentioned included excursions. So Raul every night he'd be like, okay, here are the excursion choices that you have for tomorrow. And he would say, okay, some of you have signed up for the bike ride and you're gonna do a 10-mile bike ride tomorrow. It'll be great. It's all flat. There's one hill. And that's great if you want to stick with that. But just so you know, it's going to be raining and it's going to be 35 degrees. So you may choose to do something, do one of these other ones. And you could switch it like that. But the cruise director really, or cruise manager really made the experience in terms of kind of guiding you through the destinations.
Awesome. Awesome, Ryan. I appreciate the feedback. That hands-on experience is invaluable because, again, it helps you tell that credible and comfortable story. So again, thank you so much for sharing that because again, I as well affirm that without that personal touch, we wouldn't be leading the way where we're at with river cruising. So we're talking here today also is going to be important. I think we're getting some feedback. Is that correct? Maybe we.
Yeah, I'll mute some people.
Okay.
There we go. I think we're good.
Perfect. All right, so we talked about the again personality. Here is an overview of the intimate fleet that we are today. We have 29 total vessels in our fleet, primarily focusing, of course, in Europe, but we have 4 exotic destinations as well in South Africa for the Chobe River on the Zambezi Queen. We have 2 beautiful ships for the Nile, doing 11-night cruise tour experiences there in Cairo, and then cruises round trip out of Luxor. One ship today, the Amadara in Vietnam and Cambodia. I'll share some of my personal experience on that cruise that I did back in 2018, which was life-changing for me. We're going to have a second vessel joining, in fact, the Amadara in service for next summer to keep up with the demand of what's happening there in Southeast Asia, which we're excited to see. And then new for July of this year, we're known again as innovators. We're innovating one continent at a time. South America is going to be next with Colombia sailing the Magdalena River. So you'll see again a big focus, of course, with the European itineraries, but exotic primarily again also a big focus. 29 ships a day, 37 ships, Ryan, by the end of 2027. So we are expanding to keep up with the demand, and we're not a jack of all trades, meaning we're not doing ocean, river, and expedition. We do what we do best and have been now for the past 23 years, and that is mastering the river cruise experience. And also very important, like I mentioned with Rudy and Christine, they're from Europe. Rudy born in Vienna, Austria. Christine born in Dresden, Germany. So again, they have that long-standing relationship with the local operators. That clout that's very important. That makes the overall experience for these guests just prime and optimal because of those relationships that we've established for so many years and decades with the local ground operators. Here's a beautiful shot of the longships.
Oh, quick question before you
Yeah,
before you move
sure.
off the the page that with the ships, because there was a question in the chat, how big is the average ship? And it's probably easier for you to answer the average in Europe because I know the other ones are totally different sizes, really.
Yeah, no, and great questions because it's coming up right on point with the actual slide that shows the optic of the long ships. These are 443 feet long, 38 feet wide, comparable to what the competition offers with Viking, Scenic, Avalon, and the others. Again, but the biggest difference, aside from again that onboard service experience with the crew, is that we have lower capacity with our launch ships. We max out at 155 total guests, where they're sitting at 190 total guests. So with lower capacity, that means we have a lot more room to play with to offer larger staterooms, higher crew to guest ratio for optimal service on board. You have a fitness center, hair salon, spa area, specialty restaurants featured on all our ships at no extra cost. And as you can see there, with my mouse hovering right on the top deck, you have a pool and a whirlpool that's featured on the sun deck, which is heated and great for those upcoming Christmas markets itineraries. So when you think about the hardware with AmaWaterways, lower capacity means a lot more value and amenities the guests can explore and enjoy when sailing with AmaWaterways. Here you have on the next slide our further innovations on the rivers with the Yama Magna. She came into service in the summer of 2019. Times Magazine, in fact, voted her a top destination to visit that year. But aside from the ship, she's exclusively only navigating a certain part of the world, and that's the upper Danube, which would be Wilshofen, Germany, over to Budapest, and then the lower Danube from Budapest over into Gurgi, Romania. Again, so she's the only river, that's the only river that's going to be holding this wider capacity. And the cool thing here with the Yama Magna, only a slight increase of capacity of 20% from 155 to 196. But she's still length 443, long 72 feet wide. And I feel that this is also, Ryan, a great opportunity for those guests on the ocean who have been for many years hesitant to transition into our world because of complaints of lack of size of rooms or lack of amenities. With the Yama Magna, guys, no excuses. The average starting size room on her is 355 square feet, full-size balconies. You have suites ranging between 450 to 710 square feet, 4 restaurants, 5 different bars, a brand new pickleball court that's featured up on the sun deck as well. So again, folks, this is a great opportunity for first-timers, and I also say even seasoned travelers. You know, one of the objections that I hear, Ryan, from seasoned travelers on the rivers is, I've been on that river before. And the way I counter that objection is asking, what time of the year? It's because every season offers a varied experience. It'd be the spring, summer, fall, or winter. So again, for the season, don't shy away from trying that one river more than one time on different seasons, because it's going to be quite special. Ryan, do you have any questions about what you're seeing on the screen?
Well, uh, good point there. Anybody, if they do have questions, I know some have come in already. Do put the questions in the chat, and we'll get to them. Um,
Perfect.
Not a question, but when I was at the River Cruise Expo um, in Vienna, the Ama Magna made an appearance, and I got to walk on the Ama Magna. And as I went up on the top deck, um, there were 4 people. They were playing pickleball. They were breaking the rules, so they needed some coaching on that. Um, but it's a very cool ship, and you might have caught it. It was not. It's what'd you say, 72 feet wide.
Yeah, so
So
it's yes, so
not
70,
quite a double wide because the
correct.
other ones are 38, but
Correct. Yeah.
darn close.
Yeah, and
Um,
in fact, we're going to be launching a second a double wide. It's good that she is. There are double wide ships on the river. So Rudy, in fact, has put his namesake on it. It's the Ama Rudy, and that second double wide is going to be launching at the end of 2027. So we're happy for a second one to come in. In fact, there was one already in the mix. Obviously, pandemic hit; it had to be put back in the back burner. So we're happy that the business is roaring back. And we're going to be officially launching a second wide capacity vessel there at the end of 2027 to again allow for more of that transition business from the ocean to come into our world in the river. It's quite
is
fascinating.
is the Ama also going to be the Upper Danube?
Also, the Upper Danube, Brian. Yeah, great question. So the only river that's going to hold this capacity is going to be that Upper Danube, Lower Danube experience. Okay.
And that's because of the size of the locks. Is that right?
Size of the locks and also the actual depth of the rivers, it can hold the heavier hardware. So again, yeah, only the upper and the lower Danube would be the rivers that support this actual experience here. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I just mentioned the locks. The coolest thing is to be on one of these boats when it goes through a lock. Um,
Just make sure you don't stick your head out in the balcony when that's happening, though.
you're not supposed to touch anything, but like when you're in the lock, if you have a balcony room on the ship's going to pull up to one side of the lock, and if you have a balcony room that's on that side of the side where it's pulling up to the wall, we're talking inches, like very, very. I mean, it might not even be a whole inch. difference between the side of the ship and the lock. And what's cool about we're not talking about like modern technology. Like locks have been around for ages, but it's still fascinating to see to go through a lock. And I woke up the first night of our cruise. We were leaving Vienna at 3:35 in the morning, and I was jet lagged and I got up. It was a sail away party of one person, me, and I got to, and about 20 minutes later down the river, we went through a lock. So it was a very cool thing for me to see uninterrupted by myself.
That's awesome, Brian. Yeah, you'll see here further innovations on the screen here with our double signature balconies on our long ships. Nowadays, also on those long ships with the competition, they're building floor to ceiling windows, which are nice. But again, you open up those floor to ceiling windows to the outside element, it'd be real hot, real cold. The whole entire room would be susceptible to the outside weather. Here with us, you have the best of both worlds: a true sit outside balcony on one side and a French balcony on the other. You'll see on the bottom left-hand side of the screen there, you'll see the connecting rooms, triples and quads that we exclusively offer for our multi-gen families to join us on the rivers. Another big part of why ABD Adventures by Disney, aside from the quality of the experience, is that we have the hardware that supports these multi-gen family, go travelers from the Disney World to come and join us because of that triple and quad and connecting room. But again, just know that with us, quality over quantity remains the utmost importance. Here you'll see a shot of the bathroom. The suites do have this bathtub and shower combination, double vanities, high-end toiletries. Again, we are a luxury program, but it's not pretentious. So there's no need for the penguin suits or the gowns. It's very country club ambience on board the ship, kind of a Four Seasons sailing throughout these rivers. But again, luxury can mean so many different things for so many different people, Ryan. For my wife and I feel the flexibility that we bring with our programs where you can enjoy the guided tours, you can explore on your own, or you can just stay on board your floating river yacht and enjoy the wellness program is a luxurious return on the investment. But for those that don't prefer, as you see here on the screen, this bathtub and shower combination, 80% of the makeup, in fact, is just shower only. You have all the high-end fixtures with the rain shower effect. You got the handheld, but still the double vanity and the high-end toiletries there. On average, our standard room, again, nothing standard about these double balconies, about 250 to 300 square feet. The competition is normally sailing with under 190 square feet and not a lot of storage room, which again is important when you're navigating through the this ancient landscape. Do you agree with what I'm saying when it comes to the hardware and the quality that you experienced on board, Ryan?
Yeah, well, absolutely. And if people are familiar, people that I think almost everybody on the list here has been on an ocean cruise, and those ocean cruise rooms, for comparison's sake, are generally in the 180 square foot range. So these rooms are much, much bigger. Um, but also, I was traveling by myself, so I got a room because Maggie wasn't with me. I got one of the basement rooms, and those were still, you know, nice rooms. The amenities were nice in those rooms. They're smaller and they're. I was sleeping below the water line, but then when I stood up in the room, I was at duck level. So
Yeah.
I had to look out the
Right.
window
I
and I
like
could
I
see.
like to call them, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I like to call them Swan Lake view rooms because
There you
literally
go.
swans swimming right in front of that window
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
rivers.
But not a bad seat in the house because where I was staying, in 30 seconds I could be in the lounge, or 30 in 50 seconds I could be on the sun deck. So from the basement to the all the way to the top, you're talking about a 1 minute walk. So there's not a bad room in the house.
At all, at all. And it doesn't matter if you're in the front forward facing part, aft. I mean, the average depth of these rivers is between 12 to 10 feet. So there's no rocking in the motion here on the rivers. And also with this cloud the family has, we have certain docking areas that are private to AmaWaterways. We're big on sustainability. So we do have the Green Certificate Award for the majority of these European cities. For example, Amsterdam, we have priority docking at the optimal locations there for the actual city. So here on the screen for those foodies, wife is cooking some dinner. I kind of smell it coming in through the air event. Nothing like what we have going on with AmaWaterways. But this shot here is definitely making me hungry because again, we pride ourselves on the culinary experience. So for the foodies, wine aficionados, we are again the optimal brand for that experience. We're the first on the river to be part of the chain de Rotesaires, which is a culinary society, invitation only. You have to have the highest acumen when it comes to the quality and the presentation of these meals. And Ryan, again, you saw this firsthand. The galleys on board these ships are very small, so there's not a lot of room for frozen provisions. Everything is market to table fresh from these regions that you're visiting. So again, the tours are a very important part of immersing in this culture. The meals you're having in these regions also front and center when it comes to the immersive experience. For example, this past summer, my wife and I did Paris and Normandy, the fresh escargots from the region coming on board. Or if you're in Budapest, the fresh beef goulash, the Wiener Schnitzel sailing throughout Germany, and all these meals paired up with the premium wines from the regions that you're visiting as well. And like what Ryan said earlier, there is that sip and sail cocktail hour, 1 hour before dinner every night. But there's free flowing wine and beer and champagne for dinner every single evening at no extra cost. You have the same opportunity for lunch. A little bit less for breakfast, but again, the mimosas are definitely also free for you guys to enjoy. But again, just know that with AmaWaterways, our award-winning cuisine experience is second to none and of heavy investment. And you'll see here also the main restaurants, but you also have the chef's table. Ryan, I'm sure you got the opportunity to immerse
Hmm.
yourself in this experience here. Very interactive in that you have the chef preparing, cooking the meals for you there while the guests are being served there by their amazing crew, amazing waitress or waiters. But here you have up to 10 courses presented to you at the chef's table. Reservations are required for the specialty restaurants, by the way, and you can do so 45 days prior to sailing and still have, again, that important flexibility of having, speaking to the cruise manager or maitre d' and making a change on these reservations. But again, back to this setting here, again, 10 courses presented to you, but you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of food, but more of a tapas arrangement again, paired up with all the local premium wines from the regions as well. But this is one opportunity there for our guests to enjoy, but also multiple dining rooms, including the main restaurant, which is open seating from what is the 7 to 10. So you see the red colored area down in the right bottom corner with the nice dark wood furniture. You'll have their open seating from 7 to 10, and then you have the other specialty restaurants. These are what we feature on the Alma Magna, okay? So again, all the other specialty restaurants, no extra cost. But as you see the colors and the hard furniture, heavy influence comes from Christine Karst when it comes to the design of on board. And the current feedback, in fact, that we continue to receive from our partners and guests traveling with us is they say, I feel like I'm coming on board someone's home. And that's in fact what these ships are, an extension of Rudy and Christine's home on board these ships. And again, it's genuine, authentic. They get to travel these owners about 10 to 15 times a year with our guests. So the opportunity to build that one-on-one relationship with the ownership of AmaWaterways is very much in play. And I find that to be quite special. And nobody else is doing that on the rivers or in this industry.
Let me talk about the chef's table experience I had. As you mentioned, it was 10 courses. For some reason, I have 11 in my mind. It might have been 11 for me that night. They
But you
might have
might have
gave
done a double take
Yeah,
request
they
when they came,
they might
right?
have gave me seconds of something. But it was really cool. So the when we all sit down. I sat at a table. I think it was 8 people, and all 8 people I knew. And so the the servers grabbed a dish, and they would bring them around. They had two dishes, and they would put them down. There would be 3 servers, and they would put them all down at the exact same time in front of you. And so, and then they walk away. Well, there was one course, and I want to say it was like a ravioli or something like that. So they set it down in front of me, and then they do their walk away. Well, the thing you have to know at the chef's table is they're going to tell you when it's okay to eat. They're going to say bon appetit every course. So when they did this on the ravioli dish, they didn't say bon appetit, and I picked up my fork and knife, and I mean I was like almost going to cut in, and the server runs across the room and puts her hands up and says, "Not yet, not yet, not yet," because there was a sauce that needed to be poured over that. And then that became a running joke with this server the entire cruise. She would tell me it was okay for me to eat. But it was just a really funny thing. But so like 10 or 11 or whatever courses at the chef's table, that's the specialty restaurant. I think that it's still like five in the main dining room because you have the appetizer, you have your appetizer, but then you have super salad, then you have your entree, then you have dessert, and somewheres in there there's a palate cleanser, which let's be honest, folks, that's a second dessert halfway through your meal. But you
Sure
know, it's
is.
like a sorbet or something.
Yep,
So
sure is. Yeah,
go
and
ahead.
the main restaurant also you have you know a different menu each night when it comes to the chef's recommendations, but there's always a carryover of meals for guests to enjoy when it comes to a you know a chicken breast or a nice filet mignon, T-bone. These are consistent options that are available, and again, we supply and support all dietary restrictions as well, Ryan, except for kosher meals. Again, we're not fully kosher on our ships, but just know that those who need you know some special dietary restrictions or requests, we again ask for just some ample notice of what you guys need when it comes to revision, so we can work with our operations team to support you guys on board. But again, we definitely do take care of these dietary requests and specialties that guests do need. Here's the sip and sail with a smile from one of our waitresses. Again, this is an open bar arrangement for 1 hour from 6 to 7 every single
Yeah.
evening.
hmm
I'm feeling that you
They
know the
haven't
sip
come
and
up
sail is
with
a great
prices or
part.
anything
Gonna
yet.
have
The
a
rooms
little.
are big.
Oop.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, Harlan, I muted you. I was about to. There you
It's
go.
okay. I'm back on. Yeah.
Yep.
So again, you have the sip and sail cocktail hour here. This is going to be the open bar arrangement. Again, you have the free flowing for all the meals. You have this 1 hour open bar. We've actually just last month launched drink packages, Ryan. This is the first time ever in AmaWaterways operation that we have these drink packages. My personal take on it, I think it's kind of overkill
Me
with the
too.
drink packages because again, it does not stop with the amount of free flowing liquor you have for dinner. But again, it's folks that you know, want to take down these libations out of times when the meals are taking place in the late hours in the bar. You know, that's again, it's just an opportunity and another flexible option for them to secure if they do so. Okay, here you
Let me jump in quick on the
sure.
drink package. I think a beer was $3 or €3. Just so you know, like so if you happen to want to drink and it wasn't the 2 hour lunch period or um the sip and sail or the dinner, you're not really spending a ton. So whether the drink package, I would not get it myself. But Harlan, just because it's come up twice in the questions already, what is the policy with kids? And
So
are there
so
rooms that would fit four?
Yeah, so we do have triples. We have rooms for four. They're limited capacity. So with this type of business, we want to create the urgency and have them book as soon as possible. The minimum age directly booking with Alma Waterways is 4 years old. Okay. Now, when it comes to the Adventures by Disney program, which would be something that you have to book directly with them, there's no age restriction. But with AmaWaterways, you know, the younger generation, normally teenagers in high school, graduating from high school, getting into college. I traveled with my son, who at the time was 15 years old, a couple years ago. So again, well-mannered, appreciating history. I wish I was able to get his head out of the phone as much as more time that I wanted to. But again, the time that we do see younger generation on board the ship, Brian, is going to be again teenagers and those in the early years of college. Okay. But again, we do see a nice influx of multi-gen, you know, grandparents traveling with their kids traveling with us. But again, minimum age with AMA is 4 years old. And now that we're talking about the demographics with AMA Waterways, we're known as a trending a lot younger, a very active experience. We have a median age, and I say median because it's trending younger and again, active boomers, but is 58 years old. Okay. So we see a nice influx of Gen Xers. I'm 46 years old. I love this experience. But also active boomers traveling, again, like-minded individuals, just appreciating the history and seeing these generations come together on board a ship is a beautiful thing, Ryan. But again, minimum age with AMA is 4 years old.
And you know, you said 58, that's the stat. I don't want people to check out on that because I'm 41 and I went and I felt like the cruise was like designed for me. Like,
Absolutely.
first of all, they offered like the 10-mile bike rides. They they don't really have there is an elevator, but you have to be able to like walk up the stairs to go to the sun deck. So it a lot of people think that it is a vacation designed for retirees exclusively. And retirees are going to love it. Like, no joke, they're going to love it. But also, I loved it, and I'm in my early 40s, and I think it's perfect for most demographics. Like you were mentioning, the kids for young kids, they're allowed to come on. Just know that you're going to be their entertainment. Like
Correct.
there's not like a ton of entertainment that's designed for them that's not you. Like you're going to have to make sure that they have stuff to do with. If you're really well-traveled kids that are going to love to just sit and look at the scenery going by and perfect and things like that, perfect. But just know that like you probably if you're a really really active kid that needs to be doing things all the time to like wear their energy out, it might not be the best, but
Yeah.
you can make that decision for your fam.
Absolutely. And when we usually see younger gen on board with the kids as families, is usually in the summer months. That's when we normally see that. But again, yeah, you're right on point, Ryan. Very limited when it comes to supporting any children's program on board each vessel. But again, the ships are one thing, but the main event here is the destinations, right?
Yeah.
That we're visiting. Cities like Vienna, Bratislava, and Slovakia, Passau, Linz, Austria, Cologne, Germany, Strasbourg. Getting into these cities and spending 8 to 10 hours. Sometimes on a 7 night journey, now we're averaging overnight experiences as well by two overnights per 7 night journeys. So again, the main event here is, of course, yeah, experience on board is one thing, but the main event is the destination and the cities that we're visiting. Here, when it comes to cultural immersive experience, continued with the onboard entertainment. If you guys are expecting a Cirque du Soleil experience or somebody jumping off a springboard into a pool, it's not going to happen with AmaWaterways, and for that matter, it's not going to happen with anybody on the river. It's all about, again, the immersive experience. We bring the local artisans from these destinations to perform for us. It'd be singers, violinists, dancers. And this normally starts around that 9:30-ish, 10 o'clock time frame after dinner, all the way through 1 o'clock in the morning. And the main lounge itself will stay open to the wee hours from 5:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning with a DJ, karaoke machine, a lot of dancing going on. So again, if you guys want to stay late into the wee hours, we're seeing a nice trend of that happening because we've invested a lot more into the entertainment for the young generation to enjoy while they're sailing with us on board the other ships. Ryan, do you have any other questions
Oh,
on what the ship?
the entertainment. It there were
Yes.
oh, let me somebody's being muted here. Let me mute. Um, the entertainment was one of the highlights for me because one night it was like a string quartet, and like they asked us to be quiet during the performance because it's like this really moving thing, right? So that was like a really cool thing to do, and it's about I'm gonna say about a half hour long. And if you love classical music, then maybe it wasn't enough. If you like classical music, it was probably just right. Now, on another night, it was St. Patrick's Day. We were on the ship, and it was just ridiculous. Like the so when I was with a group of six people, all about my age, and when the DJ played "Baby Got Back," we just like we could we didn't know what to do with ourselves. It was just we just started laughing because like many people, we had this preconceived notion that everything was going to be targeted at a much older demographic. Well, if you're going to play Baby Got Back and Miley Cyrus, it's for everybody, It's like it was a fun time. So the entertainment can vary, but you're going to get both the very culturally appropriate things, and then you're going to get stuff that you're really used to.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and a great way to burn down the calories you guys are going to be earning on board is with our built-in tours. Like I mentioned earlier, we offer up to 6 complimentary excursions for our guests to enjoy in these destinations on each of the ports of call. The competition nowadays, guys, offers one for free. You got to pay for the rest. We're believers here at AmaWaterways when we charge these price points and guests are making this type of investment. We don't want to have them nickel and dimed on board and what they have to spend and what they have to buy. Again, our price points are very much inclusive with the tours. And if they're offered in different modes, you have your walking experience. You have the biking, again, like I mentioned, my personal favorite, and you also have hiking up on the hilltops. A solid value proposition also that I feel we bring with our walking tours is the size of these groups with these tour guides are very intimate, only 15 to 25 guests per tour guide, where I've seen the competition walking with 40 to 50 people. Again, in that larger setting, you lose that human connection. So again, just know with the walking tours, the intimacy brings great value, and you guys allowing, getting deeper and finding out more about these destinations with these tour guides. And they're offered in different modes. You have your gentle walking experience, regular and very active. But again, the intimacy with these guides and tours is very, very important. Here's again a shot of where the rivers are going to flow. So here's a nice overview of our destination. So again, we've covered the heartbeat of the family, the operation, the innovations of our vessel, the onboard personnel, what they do for our guests day in and day out, and standing above the rest. But here we have now where the rivers flow with AmaWaterways. So on average, our cruises are 8 days, 7 nights. We're continuing to see a nice trend of guests investing in longer voyages of 10 to 14 nights. We can in fact do 72 nights from the North Sea, Dutch waterways, Rhine, Moselle into the Black Sea for the lower Danube. But again, our standard programs, nothing standard with it, is 8 days, 7 nights on the river. So again, all these blue lines, that's what they represent, and all the black dots on those lines would be the cities that we visit throughout these journeys. So you have the Dutch waterways experience here for Amsterdam and Netherlands and Belgium. Antwerp has one of the best bike ride experiences I've had in my life for about a good 12 miles, Ryan. So whenever you get to Belgium, do the Antwerp bike ride there in the morning. You again continue from the Amsterdam down to Basel for the captivating and enchanting Rhine. You have the Moselle connection there as well for what is northern France, about actually about central part of Germany into the northern part of Luxembourg. Three main rivers of France here for the Seine, Paris, and Normandy. You have the Bordeaux river cruises there, very rich area for the Merlot wines and our wine themed cruises. You have the Lyon, Provence, and Arles experience there for the northern and southern Burgundy region right through here. We have three ships, in fact, doing the Portugal experience, 7 night journeys round trip out of the city of Porto. But you also have some extensions into Salamanca, Madrid, and Toledo. These are going to be land based in Spain, but the journey itself, round trip on the cruise, would be from the city of Porto here in Portugal. Journeys again continue in the Main, then that center part of Germany. Again, you have cities like Nuremberg, Middenberg there, Rothensburg, great for those Christmas markets again in the tail end of the year. And then, again, of course, the most popular right now, the Upper Danube from Wilshofen, Germany, over into Budapest, or the Lower Danube from Budapest into Gheorghe, Romania, with some post experience there in Bucharest, Brasov. So any Dracula lovers, a real treat here for Transylvania. There into Romania there for the Lower Danube. And of course, the four exotics mentioned there, Colombia, the Magdalena River, two ships here, one sailing from Barranquilla and Cartagena, summer of this year. Southeast Asia for Vietnam and Cambodia, there on the Mekong. And then the Chobe River here for the South Africa experience. Chobe River, just for geography purposes, in that basin between Botswana and Namibia. And again, very unique. It's 5 days, 4 nights on the ship, but up to 20 nights when you incorporate the wildlife, African safari land components. And then last but not least, the Nile. We have two ships there sailing on the Nile. This again is sold as an 11-night cruise tour. But again, the first optic, Ryan, I want to share is the Dutch and Belgian waterways. Rule of thumb for anybody that's into the horticultural experience like I am, do a cruise here April 1st through May 1st. So you can experience this beautiful kaleidoscope of colors with all the tulips there in the Keukenhof Gardens. I did a journey here a couple years ago on March 17th. I got to see a stem and a bulb, but no flower. So again, encourage those that want to experience the horticultural while the flowers from April 1st through May 1st. But again, it's not limited this region just for the flowers. There's a lot of engineering, like Ryan mentioned earlier, with the lock system there throughout the Dutch waterways, also the Kinderdijk windmills. This experience here is not limited just for the spring. This, in fact, is carrying on through the end of October. This is a very special part of the world. We offer those great highlighted experiences there for the tulip times. But again, we are offering journeys there for summer and the early fall into late October as well. So that's the first experience there. Ryan, do you have any questions for me?
No, no, not on these specifically ones. So
Okay.
yeah.
So the next one we see here is the Rhine, Main, and Moselle. There, the top left-hand corner, that's the Moselle. Very quaint experience there. Look at the beautiful fall foliage colors. Again, that's in that area there, southeast of Germany, northern part of Luxembourg as well. You have the Rhine area, and then of course the Main. This third slide here would be the again French experience. Again, look at that backdrop there of the Eiffel Tower. The ship, in fact, is on the Seine. I sailed this part of the world last year from July 11th through the 18th, right before the Olympics got started. So again, just being there for the first time in Paris, did 3 days before the actual cruise. But again, just to see all the setup and all the life and excitement for these games to begin was quite special. And in fact, on the 14th of July, it's Bastille Day. That day, in fact, we visited the beaches of Normandy. Very emotional, somber day, going through the cemetery, getting my feet into the sand in those beaches, but then coming back on board the ship, and the ship dressed up all in the blue, white, and red, celebrating freedom and liberty. Captain that night, his name was Captain Alexander, says, "All right, guys, let's all gather up on the sun deck with a drink in hand." He pulls the ship in the middle of the Seine, and the town, Ryan, just firing fireworks, celebrating Bastille Day that day. See, these are the authentic experience that AmaWaterways brings to the table. And that's just one of many experiences that I've had in these 8 years that I can share with you. Truly have really touched my heart and exceeded expectations, and made a life changing mark in my experience on the rivers. Here you have the Doral experience. I haven't been here yet, but definitely a bucket list item for me. My colleagues tell me, and partners and guests, they rave about this because of the ancient area that they're navigating through there on the Douro in Portugal. A great place for those port wines. So for those wine aficionados, a great opportunity here. But again, very scenic bound, as you see all these towns with their cities and buildings just lined up from the riverbanks all on the hilltop. But again, a great experience here for Portugal and Spain, where now we have three ships navigating this part of the world. So
I
again,
want to
we've
I want to mention on the Portugal piece.
sure.
I can't say anything right now, but pay attention to my social media this weekend because my agency is going to have an announcement about uh, AmaWaterways, Portugal, and 2026.
Awesome. Very exciting. Very exciting. And again, just to, you know that with the Doral, Ryan, you know that the capacity on these ships is in fact lower than what we have on our long ships. It's
Yes.
only about 100 total guests on the Doral ships. So again,
51 cabins, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
51 cabins, 100, little under 104, 102 total guests. So again, you got to create the urgency and book as early as possible. And if you're working some magic there with the group, which again, we're easy to work with when it comes to that environment, I think a wise investment on your end, Ryan. It's definitely creating the urgency, having them book early, especially for this part of the world, because they sell out between 18 to 24 months in advance. Think about the variance, from the ocean to river. You have 5,000, 7,000 passengers on these large floating tubs on the ocean where you can wait last minute to book that space. Quite the opposite effect here with the river, especially with AmaWaterways. The minimum deposit, by the way, guys, with AmaWaterways is $400 per person. You don't have to make a final payment until 90 days prior to your departure. So again, we give you that leeway to make that initial deposit and have some time to catch up and making that final payment. Okay.
Which, by the way, Viking, a competitor that we've talked about before, 1 year in advance, final payment with
Correct.
Viking. Just to let you know.
Their losses are gain, Ryan. So we'll take advantage of that. Yeah, we make it real easy when it comes to the payment structure with Ama. And here's the first of our four exotic destinations, the Mekong. Again, we have the Amadara there. Capacity on this vessel, only 98 total guests. The crew all on board from Cambodia and Vietnam. Again, I'm a big history buff, understanding what happened here over 6 decades ago. I found this culture to be very rich, not by the tangibles, but just the love of life and family. They want to know about you as much as you want to know about them. And again, quite a life-changing experience for me. It did take me a while to get there. I mean, almost 30 hours to get over into Southeast Asia for Vietnam and Cambodia. That's why, business class is important, and we have some great air programs that you guys can take take advantage of. But here we have, again, as short as 7 nights on the Mekong. But again, why shortchange the experience? Have travel half across the world to only do 7 nights. Here you can do as much as 18 total nights when you incorporate the northern part of Vietnam there in Hanoi, Ha Long Bay, transfer down to a 5-day, 4-night stay in the Angkor Wat region there for the temples, sail there from Phnom Penh over into Saigon, spend 4 days there. So again, as short as 7 nights, on the Mekong, but as long as 18 nights when you incorporate the northern and the southern part of the program.
You know off the top of your head what the sailing season is for the Mekong?
You have your wet season, which is normally in that time from August through beginning of January, and then you have January through into the months of June and July. All right, that's
Okay,
considered dry season. So it's the opposite effect. So wet season again from August through January, and then dry season from the end of January through beginning of July.
but no months off. They do sail the whole year.
Pretty much the whole entire year, and again, we're seeing 95% business sold across the all dates, which is amazing to see. So again, you want to create the urgency and sell as soon as possible, Ryan, for this experience. But yeah, it carries the entire year. But again, you got to watch out for those dry and wet. Again, when I was there in August, it was actually a departure on the 17th of August. I'm born and raised in South Florida, so again, I'm used to the humidity. Um, I didn't mind it. I mean, just walking, of course, with shorts, no jackets, no sweaters. And again, on those 7 nights on the Mekong, I only had one day of rain. So again, Mother Nature is very unpredictable. You never know. But again, normally, again, those wet seasons are going to be starting in August through into January. But folks, again, for those who haven't been in this part of the world, strongly encourage you guys to make it happen on a river ship because of the convenience. Again, of just like I said, unpacking one time, getting on board your river yacht, everything built in, and again, just immersing in this amazing culture is just quite amazing. Here is the second of our 4 exotic destinations. That ship you see on top there in the left-hand corner, I promise you, she's fully air conditioned, and it's not the small boats that are close to the elephants. In fact, those small boats pick up our guests from the Zambezi Queen, take them closer to the other gaming in the Chobe Basin area. And again, the ship only holds 14 suites, 28 total guests. This is selling out 2 years in advance. What we are seeing is families coming out and chartering out the complete program out of service, which is great. We're going to be launching, in fact, our 2027 itineraries by the end of the second quarter of this year. But again, 5 days, 4 nights on the Chobe River, but up to 20 nights when you incorporate the African safari wildlife experience into, say, Kruger National Park. There's a Robles Rails component over Victoria Falls, visiting Johannesburg, Cape Town, South Africa. There's an extension all the way to Tanzania to go through the Serengeti. We're going to be complementing, in fact, this exotic experience here with a silverback gorilla trekking through Rwanda for 5 days, 4 nights. So again, can be from anything from 15 to 25 total nights. Price points to give you an idea from 10 to 25,000 per person. But again, definitely a trip of a lifetime here with the Zambezi Queen, and we're the only ones in the world traveling this part of the rivers. So again, Zambezi Queen is exclusive with AmaWaterways, and we're the only operator on the rivers that's offering this experience down in South Africa. Here, the fourth is going to be Secrets of Egypt and the Nile. Again, 2 vessels here navigating this special ancient part of the world. The program also unique that it's 11-night cruise tour. So you'll have 3 nights in Cairo, staying at the Ritz-Carlton off the banks of the Nile. Within that 3 days, second day, you're actually going to be visiting the pyramids of Giza, the Egyptian Museum. Third day of that journey, we transfer down into actually on the fourth day, you're going to be transferring down into Luxor, where you'll sail round trip out of the city of Luxor. And then as you get halfway into that cruise, the city of Aswan, you can actually make a connection into Abu Simbel. That is an optional package, a little extra cost between 500 to 750 per person additional. But again, you're already there. Why not make that extra investment to explore the temple of Abu Simbel out of Aswan? When you circle back into Luxor after that 7th day, then we'll give you 1 night post back into Cairo at the Ritz-Carlton. So just know that this is an 11-night cruise tour, not just 7 nights on the Nile, but again, very authentic with the onboard build and decoration with the Bedouin tents there for the chef's table up on the sun deck. Only 70 total guest capacity on these ships. We do have some moving components in play here for land with this program. So you can do Jordan, Petra, Amman. You can do Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Israel was in play, but obviously with the tragedy that took place a couple years ago on October 7th, we haven't resumed operation for that part of the programming. But again, I'm going to be very proactive. I'm sure questions are coming up. Is it safe to be here? And Ryan, you know that we're part of an industry that takes of paramount importance to safety, security, and the well-being of our crew and our guests. We're never going to put anybody in harm's way. And in fact, the current feedback we're getting from guests traveling in this part of the world, they feel like they're part of a bubble when it comes to walking security, the Egyptologists walking with them, but again, feeling like they're in a bubble, secure and safe. And I'm happy to report that the business had a severe attrition a couple years ago, but now roaring back with sales. So I strongly encourage you guys to take advantage, and Ryan also in a position to promote this amazing programming here. We're going to be possibly adding a third vessel into the Nile in the next few years. I know the V brand has six, we have two, but again, this is just a special part of the world offering this very exotic experience there in Egypt. And we're just launched, in fact, a new to the actual presentation. I just added this morning because we got news of this yesterday. Is Egypt free air. Again, this is limited time savings for select 25 and 26 itineraries. Enjoy complimentary round trip airfare over to Cairo from all major air cities. And you have another opportunity for premium economy at $19.99 or business class at $29.99. I think this is just an amazing offer that's now running through June 30th. So again, the airlift component is very important. We offer a two-tier program where we have complimentary economy or the $19.99 reduced for premium or the business class reduced for the guests to enjoy. What do you think about that, Ryan?
I mean, flying across the ocean for free is incredible.
Yeah,
In fact, I mean, business class at that price is also incredible. If you, I mean, I know it's not, it probably is out of a lot of people's price range, even at that price, but it's sometimes a lot. If you look it up off the market, it's like three times that. So,
correct.
but,
Almost
but
almost close
so,
to almost close to $10,000 between
yeah,
eight and
yeah,
10.
yeah. So getting there for free is incredible.
So again, this is on the table now for you guys to take advantage of through June 30th. Then now we have the last but not least, Colombia. For many that don't know, this is one of the most biodiverse regions in the world next to, say, the Amazon. But again, when it comes to the horticultural experience, the aviary, the history in this region here with Simón Bolívar and the gold trade, emeralds. In fact, we're going to be visiting one of the first freed slave states in the Americas in Palenque on the itinerary out of Cartagena. But again, this is going to be hitting all the senses in this very exotic and special part of the world. Here's a shot of what the logistics are going to look like when it comes to where we're going to be navigating. One ship sailing out of Barranquilla, going down south to Nueva Venecia, Calamar, Santa Barbara de Pinto, Monpax, El Banco, and then another ship from Cartagena down through Palenque, including these in the middle, and then also Magangue, which is one of the top areas to visit there for aviary and birds. The Colombian government, in fact, has invested $7 million with us. They're really on board with what's happening here to further dredge parts of the river to get our guests deeper into the cienagas in this exotic part of the world. And again, back to what I said about Egypt. Yes, it is a safe region. This is one of the hottest destinations to visit. We're never going to put anybody in harm's way. This has been a project for Rudy for ever since I came on board, and it's finally come to fruition that we're finally going to get to see the start of this operation on July 15th of this year. This 7-night journey from either of these two cities, Cartagena and Barranquilla, will have also moving pieces in Medellin and also Panama City. There are talks for next year to add Cali as well. But again, just know that we're the first into this part of the world, and we are giving back into the community where we're building our own private docking areas. And that's one of the things that we do here with AmaWaterways, talked about sustainability that we build, but we also expand these local communities because they're giving so much to us and allowing us to come into their world that we're going to be giving them back a lot with the love and helping their communities to grow as well. Here's a shot of the ships they're going to be navigating there for Colombia. Two vessels, the Ama Magdalena and the Ama Melodia, only 60 guest capacity, navigating through that part of the world. And here's the first shot of the interior view of what these ships are going to look like. You guys are first seeing this here with
Wow.
this presentation, but again, very, very high-end quality, but very authentic, of course, with the colors and the furniture of the region we're going to be visiting there very soon there on the Magdalena River. Chris's markets, Chris. I mean, Ryan, this is something that, again, sells out quick. In fact, we're seeing that same booking trend 18 to 24 months in advance. The core weeks for this Yuletide spirit, this experience in Europe, therefore the markets is at tail end of November after Thanksgiving towards Christmas Eve. Those do sell out very quick, but now we're offering what we call Taste of Christmas. So our journeys are now beginning 3 weeks before the market weeks, the core market weeks, and also 3 weeks after into New Year's. So again, experiencing the markets like in cities of Cologne in front of that cathedral. It's surreal. The city of Nuremberg has one of the oldest markets dating back to 660 AD. And again, we get our guests into these locations in a very unique way, very exclusive way with our built-in tours. But again, if you want something on the markets, book early. And again, we're the most decorated ship on the rivers as well. You see others floating by. They don't have any Christmas trees, no Santa Claus, nothing decorated with the lights. Again, we just last year got the award for the most decorated ship on the river when it comes to the Christmas markets. So again, one key thing I'm told that also navigating during the markets, make sure your credit cards are at a zero balance because there's going to be a lot of shopping to be made with all these amazing gifts. But again, create the urgency, Ryan. Make sure we have guests who are interested in this experience to book as early as possible.
Do they sail during Christmas week?
They do. They do. In fact, so Christmas, so you're looking at Thanksgiving all the way towards Christmas Eve, but then there's tail end experience all the way into the new year. So
Okay.
you're going to have those markets are still set up earlier,
And
but again, the core weeks when that market is happening is going to be in those weeks.
and Christmas 25, 26 are both on sale now, and
They are.
27 is coming out soon.
27 will be out with our 27 schedule by the end of the third quarter. But again, for the European itineraries, but again, for Africa, we're launching that at the end of the second quarter. So there's different canvases that have start dates and where we're going to be launching for 27. But for the Christmas markets, end of third quarter this year, we'll be launching our 27 itineraries. Yeah, and here we have, I mean, we specialize in many wine in themed cruises, I mean, beer themed cruises, history, of course, the soulful Epicurean experiences that we offer on the rivers as well. But with the wine river cruises, if you identify any of these on our website or collateral, there's no extra cost for this experience. Here, what happens, we have wine hosts from vineyards that we go into terms with that they come on board and give beautiful enrichment talks about the old world versus the new world blend of wines, American versus the European. They get to visit private vineyards and cellars ashore, do wine tasting ashore, do those same wine tasting enrichment experiences on board a ship as well. But again, no extra cost for those who want to experience this wine infused journey throughout the other rivers with AmaWaterways. And also, Ryan, if for any golfers here joining us today or on the watching this recording, we do have a Match Made in Heaven program here for the golfers on the Ama Magna on the Upper Danube from Wilshofen, Germany, over to Budapest. Here you can do up to 5 championship European courses through the sailings that we offer here on the Ama Magna. 4 rounds at 2,500 or 5 rounds for 3,000 when you include the extra package there in Prague. And for those golfers who might be looking, wow, that's pretty expensive for golfing. It's more of a, again, tailor-made program. What's included, you have the concierge experience there with the club care. You have private luxury Mercedes Sprint vans picking up the guests from the ship over to the golf courses, bringing them back from the courses back to the ship. There's lunch, there's beer, there's wine. Again, the equipment is included, but again, a lot of these golfers want to bring their own equipment, but of course, lugging along that heavy equipment overseas can get pricey. Just know that we do have a tailor-made program here for the golfers on the Ama Magna on the Upper Danube. So again, we've covered pretty much a lot of AMA when it comes to the family business, the difference when it comes to the innovations of the ships. Now we're going to dive into the promotions that currently are in play that we can take advantage of with Ryan.
Can I
Uh,
let me
yeah,
mention a couple things because I said this is like the things that shocked me, and we've talked about some of the things. I want to hit a couple of points home before we talk about the promotions and stuff. Um, the excursions. You can pre-register for excursions for your AMA sailing. And then I mentioned Raul would talk about the excursions and stuff, and he would talk you out of the bike if it was going to be bad weather. You can change them that morning. So like that's totally different than if you're used to like an ocean cruise where you have to pay a price in advance and then go on that one regardless of what happens. With AMA, you can pre-register, but you can also change your mind. Also, so that's the excursion piece. Boarding. I want to talk about boarding a river cruise ship versus boarding an ocean cruise. With an ocean, you walk into this big, huge lobby with 2,000 other people, and you have to wait in this line, and then you go to the next line, and you wait in that line, and then you're on a ramp, and you're going like this all the way up the ramp to get to to then get to the lobby of the ship, and then your stateroom is still 20 minutes away. With a river cruise, you have one ramp, it's about 20 steps, and then you're there in the lobby, and then your room is 35 seconds away. That is that's just like, and that's at every port. So when you're going from place to place, it's just a very quick and easy experience. You're docking right in the city. So you step off the ship and you're there. Some excursions, like I went to Sound of Music, Harlan, what is it?
Osberg.
Uh, Salzburg. That was a bus ride away, but I didn't have to go to Salzburg because we had docked in a different city, but I wanted to go to Salzburg, so there was a bus involved with that. So you have those things. We didn't talk about the spa. There was a spa on all these ships, and I saw the price list when um I didn't get a massage, but I happened to see the price list. I know my wife got a 60-minute massage on the Disney Magic about a year ago and spent over $200. The same massage on one of these ships is less than 100. So
Mhm.
it's like it's luxury, but think about that, like you could spend a ton of money on the ocean cruises and all those things, those little things you're paying for the excursion, your spa, all those things, and it's so much more, most of it's included on the river
Right.
with AMA, and then some of those up things that you would have to pay for are like a fraction of the cost. So um and then the activity level. We talked about like people have a preconceived notion that they're going to get on this ship and everybody's going to be 85 years old, and that's just not the case. It's not really designed for people 85 years old. It's designed for people, I would say, between 35 and 70 that are in relatively good condition because they have to do some stairs. So, and above 70, as long as you can walk up one flight of stairs.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, no, you hit it on the mark there, definitely, and I appreciate the nice overview. Here you got a shot, Ryan, of our current promotion, one of the hottest ones. In fact, we were going to sunset this at the end of the net last month, and now we've extended this through June 30th. This is a complimentary land offer that works as an enhancement to the 7 night cruises. This has a value of $3,000 per couple. So, for example, if you want to do, say, the Rhine, you can include Amsterdam before or after, Lake Como, Lake Lucerne, or doing something into the Zurich area. You can't double dip and do two free land packages. It has to be one or the other. But this again, this brings great value for the experience with these enhanced. And these are select dates again, so that's a key thing. You got to make sure you're watching the dates that they're select. But of course, with Ryan being your guiding light, the experience he has, he's going to set you up for success when it comes to identifying which of these sale dates offer the maximum value on return. And Ryan, you were mentioning earlier about the extra cost. On board for the spa or any sort of drinks outside those dinner times. But again, with your relationship with travel leaders, or actually with Signature that we have, you also have some onboard credits that you can
Yep.
extend that can be used to offset these costs on board. So again, aside from the experience, Ryan, you bring the relationship with the exclusive promotions and offer are going to go a long way. But again, very minimal of what you're going to have to pay above what's included with the rates because again, it's all pretty much built in to the price points.
By the way, a beer on Royal Caribbean is about $10. A beer on AmaWaterways was three.
Yep.
Just, like,
And it's good beer. Stella Artois, you,
yeah.
you got some good Heinekens, you got some good beers served on there. Yeah, and I
Appropriate to
say
the
the same
region.
thing, I'm big on the the Captain Morgan and Sprite or Margarita. Very nominal, $5.50. Yeah, here in South Florida for a margarita or rum and Coke, you're looking at $20, $15. I mean, so again,
Yeah.
very nominal the cost when it comes to our drinks. And again, here with the land package, just know that there's a consistent theme when it comes to the quality of the hotels we're staying at. They're going to be 4 or 5 stars, daily breakfast. You have on the second day a nice tour of the experience of the actual city that you're visiting there on that. So again, just know that there's great value with this current land program that's running through June 30th. And it is combinable with another airlift promotion called the Air Plus. This is also running through June 30th. You have very attractive rates there on the economy there at $8.99 for our 25 dates. Still very healthy. Only $9.99 there for 26 on economy. Premium economy at $22.99 and in business class at $42.99. Available from all major air cities here in the U.S. So of course, all our trips are over in the U.S. It's important to factor in that airlift component. Just know that we have a great promotion here, not only with the Freeland, but again, a great complement with the Air Plus.
And those prices are good.
And then again, just the peace of mind also, when you do a bundle package experience, why do a cookie cutter, do a cruise, but then do air separate, do land separate. You want to build it all as one bundle package, just for the peace of mind and convenience that God forbid something does go south, that you have 24/7 operator there servicing the client's needs. But again, excellent fares, trusted airlines, quality experience, and again, above all, the peace of mind knowing that it's a bundled experience with the type of investment you're making here with AmaWaterways. Another offer, again, there's a lot of moving pieces with the promotions. I say, Ryan, definitely the Freeland with the Air Plus, and now this new triple savings in play. This is not anything built in with the land package, but there's aggressive pricing, savings when it comes to our 7, 10, 11 night voyages between $2,000 up to $2,000 per stateroom, plus a complimentary stateroom upgrade and $100 onboard credit, which is combinable. If it's a same sailing there for signature, you can combine the 100 and the 300 to truly really offset any sort of cost on board. And then on the 14 nighters, like I said earlier, we see that nice consistent trend of longer journeys of $4,000 off the stateroom, complimentary upgrade, and a $200 onboard credit. Again, this is called the triple savings running through June 30th. For any solo guests here on the call this evening or watching this recording, we do waive our single supplement on select itineraries for European rivers, primarily on the French rivers for the Seine, Bordeaux, and the northern and southern Burgundy, but still very attractive, reduced single supplement of only 10% on the select rivers there in 25 and into 26. That says March 31st, but it is June 30th extended here on that as well. But back again to promotions being capacity controlled, the limit of how much folks we have sailing with us. We want to make sure we're booking as early as possible to capitalize on these offers. Okay, you don't want to wait last minute because again, you're not going to get the offer, and for that matter, you're not going to get any space on board the ships to sail with us. So you want to book as soon as possible with AMA. And here, Ryan, is what I mentioned about our mutual partnership with Signature. You do have an amenity program where you have $300 shipboard credit available on Europe, Asia, and Colombia itineraries. And there are a few hosted itineraries also with some prepaid gratuities, a signature host, and a private cocktail reception on select departures. This shows 25, but we already have our 26 exclusive signature programs in play as well. So again, we're going to show now a video. Hopefully, Ryan, we can get a sound of what I'm going to show here. It's a nice 5-minute video that our marketing team put together, but it just gives you a nice review of what we just discussed about the different destinations and that human connection and quality of the experience that we bring here with AMA. So hopefully,
One more thing before you hit play on that, because I'll acknowledge that we're over time, and I wonder if in a 5-minute video people will drop. I also want to mention that combinable with all these promotions that Harlan just mentioned, when I was on the ship 2 weeks ago, I I paid a certain amount in order to get a 5% discount that's combinable with all these other promotions. So in addition, I have 5 of those, 5 staterooms worth. So the first 5 people to launch the river cruise business are going to get that. Are going to get that. So
and
I just
Ryan,
want to mention that as well.
Ryan, my understanding is that you got double the benefit from
For
5% to 10%. Okay,
for
so
certain sailings. Yep, that's
correct,
true.
correct. And what I'll do as well is I'll throw in an additional $100 off per person as a thank you for those participating this evening. For any new bookings made today or up to 30 days after the actual event. Okay, so in addition, I'll throw in an additional $100 off per person. Okay.
all these things are combinable with free air, all the things. So it's
So
crazy.
let's run the video because again,
Yeah.
we're having so much fun, Ryan, that I forgot it was 7:45, man. So I apologize for the overage. But again, I really enjoyed the collaboration. But let's take a look at the other video. Thanks, Ryan. Well, that in a nutshell is the presentation. Again, Ryan, I appreciate the collaboration. It was definitely a lot of fun. I always feel that it resonates when you have a partner coming in here and collaborating on a presentation, not sitting on the sidelines, listening to me for an hour. So again, great job, Ryan. Looking forward to many more of these opportunities, and hopefully the opportunity to sail together, not only with you, but many of those joining us this evening and watching this recording. So again, thank you so much. Our story continues on the river with AmaWaterways, and hopefully with all of you on board as well.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining, taking time out of your evening. I really appreciate it to learn about on the waterways, to learn about river cruising, because I acknowledge that you learned a lot about on the waterways tonight, but you also learned a lot about river cruising. So it was something that I truly enjoyed doing a couple of weeks ago, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. So talk with everybody soon, but thank you so much.